How's it going, billionaire? Today I have a video for you. This video is for anyone who feels like they're a bad communicator, because I truly don't believe that's a real thing. I think sometimes you're just misled, and a thing I'm about to talk about later in the video is a lot of times you're trying to do certain methods that just simply don't work. So today I'm going to give you the number one method that actually works. The only thing, in fact, that you need to do to be a good communicator or an interesting communicator. So let's imagine, right? Me and you are having a conversation. And obviously that's basically what this YouTube video is, but it's a conversation where it's just me talking and you're listening, right? You don't have a choice to say anything. You can comment, but you can't really say anything to me. That's how you gotta treat like real conversations. And I'm not saying don't say anything, but the point is you gotta start listening to the person you're talking to. Because a lot of people, what they do when they're in a conversation is like the other person will be talking, right? And they'll be talking about, yeah, I went to Punta Cana and I had this nice vacation and there were beautiful women there and the beach was so nice and blah, 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 right? And while they're stating their points and just talking about whatever they're talking about, you're off in like a whole other land in your mind, sitting there like either not listening, not paying attention, for one, or you're listening and trying to hear them, but you're thinking of what you're going to say next. So you're only like 80% listening. You're like using half your mind to listen, half your mind to think of something interesting to say. And then maybe there are a couple other things, but those are like the two main things. You're either like not really listening, you're not really engaged, or you're thinking of something to say. So either way, you're not fully listening. And that's the biggest issue that most people have when it comes to communication, is that you're just trying so hard to think of something interesting to say, or trying so hard to like make the conversation go a certain way, when honestly speaking, if you literally just listen and completely clear your mind, don't think of anything to say, don't try to be interesting, just literally just listen to what they're saying, I guarantee you'll probably actually have something better to say once the conversation flows back to you, weirdly. And this is something I've truly observed in my own life, because I would say like maybe a year or two ago, I really started to care more about stuff like this. I started to care more about my ability to communicate with people. And just in general, I started to care more about like human psychology and whatnot. And I forget exactly where I heard this. I feel like I've heard it from multiple sources, but it truly is the only thing you need. You don't need to be the most interesting guy in the world. You don't need to have a million fun facts about yourself. And there are a bunch of different methods on the internet of random things you can do to communicate better, like eye contact, your body language. You can talk with your hands. You can pronunciate your words better, or you can just live a more interesting life to have more interesting things to talk about. And all those things are true. Don't get me wrong. They all do add to the communication. But honestly speaking, those are like theatrical things. Like those things do help, but they don't matter at all unless you have the base of actually listening to the person you're talking to. Because the thing is too, humans love to be heard. Like humans don't really care if you have something interesting to say. They just want to know that you're listening to them. And so they want you to literally prove it to them, basically. And so to prove it to them, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can, like I said, just listen. And so when you respond to them, you have a response that shows you were listening. You have a follow-up question, or you have something to say back to them that actually makes sense because you actually were listening. Or you can just be genuinely curious, which is actually it's like the most overpowered thing ever. Just like genuinely be curious about what they're saying. Like, so to the point where you're asking follow-up questions, they maybe say one little thing and you're like, ooh, what did happen there? Maybe they're telling you a story, right? And during their story, they're saying, oh, I was running from a bear and blah, 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 right? You might even cut them off occasionally and be like, oh, how'd you feel when that happened? And the point is that you got to prove to them while they're talking that you're actually listening. And you can also do this with non-verbal things. Like, let's say they tell a joke, you might chuckle a little bit or just like smile. Let's say If they're saying something that's kind of serious, you might, give a more stern look. You might match their energy, essentially, whatever it may be. But all of these things that I'm saying literally just come back to actually listening. If you're literally just listening, all these things naturally kind of happen. And I think that's even why, if you have like a best friend or just someone you've known for a while, a lot of times you're going to have better conversations with them because you actually give them the respect to actually listen to them. But let's say you're trying to talk to someone who maybe you haven't talked to really ever, or maybe you're just getting to know them, or I don't know, maybe you're intimidated by them. A plethora of reasons why you would want to care about your communication with this person. All you really need to do is listen. I'm telling you, it's the only thing you need to do. You don't need to focus on anything else. And that's the thing too. Once you actually learn how to just simply listen, you will naturally do a lot of the things, but then you can add all these other things onto your bag. Like I would put it this way, right? Listening when someone's talking is like your basic dribble moves in basketball. It's like your handle, your ability just to simply dribble the ball and not lose it. Whereas like body language and eye contact and even just having something interesting and crazy to say, having interesting stories, that's like all like the flashiness of the game. That's like the extra shit. That's like the tween, double cross, like hezzy, like all that. It's like, it's cool. It definitely is important. But if you can't even dribble the damn ball, why are you trying to look cool doing it? And that's basically how a lot of people treat communication. It's like they're trying to pull off all these crazy moves. The person's talking to them, right? And they're responding like a robot almost. Like they're like not even like a robot. They're responding like a dude trying to sound interesting instead of just like responding based on what they're saying. And all of this, I know it kind of sounds kind of simple, like too simple to be true. But if you've never tried it, like go try it literally today. Just the next time you get in a conversation with someone, whether it's your dog or your cat or your dad or your brother or your sister or your mother, literally just listen to them and clear your mind as much as possible. Try to literally just like focus on what they're saying. And I'm telling you, you'll probably realize once the conversation is over, for some reason that conversation just flowed. Like everything was just coming out easily. Pause. Everything was just flowing easily and everything like just naturally happened the way it was supposed to. And funnily enough too, the last thing I'll say, a lot of times conversations don't need to be about like super deep or super funny or super interesting things to be interesting conversations. Like honestly speaking, your engagement with the conversation is what makes the conversation interesting more than the actual things that you're talking about. So like I've said like twice now, please actually go use this information. Don't just, listen to it and then never use it. And stop believing you're a bad communicator. Like no one is a bad communicator. You just been conditioned to think you're a bad communicator over the years. But thank you for listening. If you made it all the way through, I love you, and I hope you have a great, amazing day, billionaire. Goodbye.